All right, what's going on? Welcome over to the DFS 5-pack. We're here to talk about the Florida matchup tonight. Jaguars taking on the Miami Dolphins, and what most people are labeling it's a toss-up. We got Ravens and Chiefs Monday, or we got Jaguars and Dolphins tonight. Which one have you been looking forward to more? Mostly just messing with you guys, and I want to apologize beforehand if the connection comes in and out at all. I'm trying to homeschool two kids, so they're like live streaming classes that they got all day long, so it's very difficult to make videos with a less than stellar. You know how it is when things are streaming multiple times all day long.
I do. I'm not jealous of your situation. And yeah, this game is awful. Don't know how this game made Thursday night. We've got two awesome primetime games coming up with the Packers and Saints Sunday, and then you mentioned the Monday night game. So we'll get through this, and then we're on to brighter future.
You know darn well how this game made Thursday night. Thursday night games traditionally are not the best games on the menu, and this is probably right at the forefront of a perfect example of that.
Amen.
All right, guys. We've been bringing it up all week. Congratulations and welcome to board to all the people who have been doing this. We've been featuring this new matchup shop on Overlay real hard. I know you really started playing harder on it this week, and you definitely seem like you're growing to become a little bit of an addict yesterday. We got a couple of sweet deals yesterday with Glass now over Michael Waka and Market Vicious over Granke that paid out handsomely. We're going to continue to promote it. So if you haven't played on Overlay yet, go make that deposit. If you're a first-time player, screenshot it, send it to me at my email or on my Twitter so I can get you a free DFS 5-pack membership. A $50 deposit will give you 2 weeks, $100 deposit, free month. $500 deposit gets you a free annual membership, and a $1,000 deposit gets you a free lifetime membership. So this thing's going to continue to grow. It is a lot of fun. You just pick there are some diamonds in the rough in there you can make real money on.
No doubt about that. I feel like you did a real good job not like pushing it on me too hard at first, because I know I know that you knew I would really like it, but I would also not respond well to you pushing it on me so hard. So now I've really grown on it. I'm loving it.
All right, guys. Thumbs up as always. Appreciate it. Subscribe to the station if you're new to it. Let's talk about some of our favorite plays tonight. As usual, when we do these showdown slates, we're going to start with one of the simplistic plays of the evening. That is Gardner Minshew, a.k.a. Uncle Rico, at the quarterback position of the Jacksonville Jaguars. The nice part is you get the sweet bonus on this one for the for the great mustache that he has. It's a 5-point DK bonus for that. No, I'm just kidding. He's played very well to start the season. Back-to-back very good fantasy games. He can pick up extra points with his legs, which is something that the Miami Dolphins have struggled to contain through 2 games this year, with both Cam and Josh Allen doing their thing on the ground. I think while we see the outcome a little differently, we both expect a competitive game right here. And the Dolphins defense has been getting cooked to start the season. So it's a good spot for Minshew.
Yeah, so even if you think that, like I do, that the Dolphins win this game or are very competitive here, then at least Minshew's going to be throwing. He's been really good to start the year. The Dolphins don't have a defense you're scared of by any means. Yeah, a lot to like here. I mean, especially with only one game in play, he's one of the easiest plays on the slate. And his mustache reminds me of a guy we used to know, Mustache Matt.
I miss those days. All right, man, let's move over to your Miami Dolphins tonight and talk about Devontae Parker. Has not been in a great spot to start the year. I think we both know that New England and Buffalo both garner some of the best individual cornerbacks in the game, that with as their number one wide receiver. Hold on one second. Sorry, guys, I have a young kids, and she just got done with class, and she's starting to play with toys. Anyways, going back to Devontae Parker, he's still the number one guy in Miami. He has not had a great start to the season, but I love the fact that he lost his questionable tag early on this week. He's probably a little bit healthier than he has been, and he's finally I guess we'll call it a crush spot right here against the Jaguars defense that we're not scared of in the slightest, and there is no Stephon Gilmore in this game.
No, he's also good too. He's a legit number one wideout. He's not like an elite wide number one. He's not a guy you're like building around, but he's been very productive with Fitzpatrick. Had a really good year last year. Finally in a good spot, as you mentioned, and it's a great buy low opportunity on Parker. I mean, really can't get too harder matchups to start the year than being locked in with Gilmore and Tre'Davious White.
Nope, those guys are both tremendous at what it is that they do. All right, moving on down the list. So another wide receiver from the Miami Dolphins that you should take a look of is Isaiah Ford at only 3K. 7 catches and 9 targets last week in week 2. So you have to assume he's one of the more popular players on this slate tonight, because we all need at least one guy for cap space. And I think the 9 targets last week is something people are going to hone in on for good reason. and he's going to be a very popular play this week. I will have him in my cash game lineup tonight. He's definitely somebody I'm looking at. So I wanted to get kind of into the GPP side of things and talk about the fade on this one. This is a piece that I can absolutely get on board fading. There's only so many guys in this game, but there's other players you might want to take a look at. I expect him to be very popular tonight, but this reminds me a lot of Ketel Marte yesterday for the Diamondbacks, where we kind of had two sides of the coin on this one. Marte ended up being fine, right? He had the one triple for 8 points based off of his really low salary. You could easily win with or without him, and that's a very likely scenario for what happens with Isaiah Ford tonight. I'm more scared to fade him in cash games because of the popularity and the fact it doesn't take a lot to pay off his salary. But what if he loses targets because all of a sudden this week Devontae Parker just goes ham? Like, he's a guy who could easily bust as well.
Yeah, also, if you think that the game plays out like I do and Miami wins, maybe they're not throwing as much as they have been. So definitely reasons to play him, as you talked about, and reasons to fade him, as you talked about. He's also not like a great receiver by any means. So if he came out of tonight with 0 targets, I don't think anyone would be shocked.
All right. Next up, we go back to Jacksonville and talk about Keelan Cole. I find him to be one of my more intriguing targets to make my final lineup tonight. The Dolphins defense, I know before the season started, there was definitely some people who thought it was going to be improved. It's looked awful to start the year. They've been getting torched early on. So number one wide receiver for the Jags is DJ Chark. He's firmly questionable tonight, which means that we'll have to wait for about an hour and a half before the game to find this one out. I don't know if he'll play or not. That's why he's listed as questionable, because nobody really knows for sure. Is Cole better with or without Chark? I don't know. I think there's arguments for both sides. If Chark's in, Cole's still going to see plenty of time on the field. And then he's maybe, he's got another decoy out there at the least. He's got another good wide receiver that they're going to fear. If Chark is out, well, then Cole's going to have to garner some targets. Even if it's a little bit harder matchup, maybe the volume goes up a little bit for him. So good arguments on both sides. Very affordable, seeing red zone looks early on. This is a piece of the Jacksonville Jaguars that I desire to roster.
Yeah, and I definitely like the Jacksonville passing game more than the running game, because I think Miami has a real good chance to win this game. So, again, another play that works no matter how you think this game plays out. Cog in the machine type at this price point. He's been productive this year. He's a guy that's been good in the past, hasn't been good for the past couple of years, but we know it's in him. He looks good to start the year, and I hope you're right, because I have him on my dynasty football team.
You remember the week a few years back where it was like week 15 and he went off, and it was somebody that we had written as a hard recommendation as our cheap wide receiver.
Yes.
And a bunch of our customers won a ton of money. Those are the type of things that you never forget about. And so he is permanently on my good side, even if he had 0 catches for the rest of his life.
Fair enough.
All right. So far this year on the Showdown videos, we like to end with one kind of off the wall, maybe a deeper GPP play. And today I'm going to talk about Jordan Howard of the Miami Dolphins. Now, PSA, public service announcement. The only shape, way, or form I would use this guy is limited GPP exposure only. I do not run multiple GPP entries, so I'm telling you guys right now, I am not playing him tonight. This is only for people who run larger amounts of lineups and are looking for ways to get a little bit different. He has been awful to start the season. 13 touches, 11 yards, is not involved in the passing game. I have to assume with Gaskin looking like the clear guy, Breida has looked better than him, that Jordan Howard at 4,800 just does not garner a lot of attention from the DFS community on tonight's game for good reasons. Now, the only reason he's rostered at all is because he has hawked 2 touchdowns already this season. He's gotten goal line looks, and as a bigger back, that's not a surprise. Again, I cannot imagine he's going to be high on people's priority list tonight. But there's a couple things right here. One, if he is getting goal line work, it's not impossible to think this guy could score twice tonight. And at limited ownership, I'm okay with that. The other thing is, if you believe, like Matt does, that Miami's going to flip the script a little bit tonight and win this game, I think it's entirely possible that he could see more looks if Miami was winning by 10, 14 points, for example, and more of a little bit of a ground and pound type of mentality from Miami. Also, we haven't seen dominance from him, but Jordan Howard's been good in the past. It's not insane to think he plays better tonight.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a guy that's been a scrub forever. He hasn't looked good so far this year, but it's been limited work. He's clearly the guy they want to get goal line carries to. And like you mentioned, in a game flow that I think happens here, I think Miami scores. So they're going to be around the goal line, around in the red zone multiple times. And I think that we're always looking for these guys, on showdown slates that aren't going to carry a lot of ownership. And of course they're risky because they're not going to carry. That's why they're not going to carry a lot of ownership. You got to get a little bit weird. You got to think outside the box in tournaments on these slates. And he's one of many guys in play.
Agreed, guys. All right, man, that's what we got for today. We appreciate y'all watching. Don't forget to click the thumbs up button. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe to it so we can continue to build the audience talking about DFS, which we love to do. We'll be hitting you guys with some basketball and some baseball later on today. Have a wonderful day and good luck tonight.
Thanks, guys.